32-year-old Lane is sleeping on the couch. Her distant cousin along with her mother and sister monitor Lane through the CCTV. The cousin is currently working as an intern for a reality show which helps people find jobs. She pitches to help Lane find a job through the show. She manages to get their approval and even get Lane to sit for an introductory interview. However, the mother starts blaming herself and starts crying, saying that she is the reason for making Lane end up as a fatty loner. But this makes Lane hesitant to continue with the interview and gets up to leave. Her mother persuades her to stay back, and even her sister, Leiden, confronts Lane for her behavior and still mooching off their mother at this age. Even though Lane feels bad about this, she still proceeds to go outside. After this, Lane calls her boyfriend out to discuss the matter. He agrees to meet up, and after he cuts the call, Lane calls her best friend and asks her to join her at the restaurant. Lane walks towards the location, and it is revealed that her boyfriend and best friend are having a secret affair behind Lane. The best friend tells the boyfriend that she is pregnant and that they should reveal their relationship to Lane soon. The boyfriend mentions about not telling Lane, but the best friend says that Lane is her only friend and she will not have anyone to accompany her for their wedding. Hearing this, the boyfriend agrees and they decide to tell Lane that day. After some time, we find Lane explaining about the interview to them. Despite her feeling sad now, the boyfriend mentions that they should break up. Lane asks for the reason and the boyfriend explains that it is becoming difficult to communicate with her. The best friend gets up to leave them alone to discuss, but Lane tells her to stay back. Lane snatches the boyfriend's phone to find the chat open with her best friend's photo, and her best friend falls on her knees to apologize for betraying her. Lane feels angry and leaves them, but the best friend pleads for her to be the maid of honor for their wedding next week. Experiencing her heartbreak, Lane still ends up going to their wedding, and even poses for the group photo. One day, her sister Leiden asks her mother to tell Lane to sign off the apartment their grandmother gave to Lane. This is because Leiden's daughter needs to get admission in school, and since she is divorced, she needs the property to get her daughter enrolled in school. Lane comes down to eat and they give the paper for her to sign, even though Lane wants to help in the matter. Leiden also mentions how the apartment was given to her by her grandmother, and Lane is not using it, so she should help her to get her daughter enrolled in school. Lane gets angered by this. She tells Leiden it was her fault for cheating and having someone else's child that she got divorced. There is nothing wrong with what Lane said, but Leiden gets very angry and starts beating her. At last they began to fight each other. Mother intervened both of them. Not able to tolerate this anymore, Lane decided to leave home. She packed her bag and went out, but she stops at the entrance and walks back inside. Leiden is cleaning the place. Lane picks up the document and signs the power of attorney, but even still, Leiden does not appreciate her and shouts that Lane should have done this first. She leaves without saying a word. Lane finds a cheap apartment to rent. The house is organized but the rent is 1,500 yuan. She had no money and wanted to ask her mother to pay the initial amount, but she deletes the message. Right then, mother sends a deposit of 2,000 yuan to help her. Lane walks out to the nearby restaurant and asks for a job. The part-timer beat the owner and quit some time before. The owner agrees to give the job to Lane. Another worker comes forward to explain her work. She asks for Lane's WeChat and notices that she has not uploaded any moments. Lane hesitates thinking about her life so far, but soon she starts to learn the work from her colleague. Lane works hard and is sincere at work. One day, the owner tells Lane to get something from his car. Lane manages to unlock the car and get inside. At that time, a man walks to the side in front in order to pee. She sees him and stays inside the car to avoid being humiliated. She accidentally turns on the headlights. She tries to turn it off, but she turns on the blinkers as well. The man gets very upset. He walks over to her and asks what she is doing. Lane explains that she doesn't know how to operate the car and it was a mistake. He gets angry and leaves. Lane notices that he left his boxing gloves behind. The next day, Lane visits the nearest boxing gym. She does not know his name and asks the receptionist for the man in the poster. The receptionist recognizes that Lane is here to see the coach. She announces about a visitor and the man comes out. His name is Hao and he is one of the boxing coaches in the gym. The receptionist uses this chance to invite Lane to become a member. She also invites Lane to watch their exhibition match in which Hao will participate. Lane agrees and watches her first boxing match in which Hao beats his opponent, but the referee made his opponent the winner with more points. Hao feels sad and Lane offers to treat him to dinner to apologize for causing him trouble yesterday. Hao accepts her offer and begins to open himself to her. He tells about his love for boxing and he always wanted to win the championship, but the referee took a bribe and made him fail. Seeing him in a similar position to her, Lane sympathizes with him and Hao has a lot of drinks. Soon Hao gets drunk and Lane takes him to her apartment. At that moment, Hao makes a move on her. Together they became one in the night. Hao wakes up next to Lane in the morning. He realizes what happened in the night and accepts to move forward with their relationship. A little happiness comes in Lane's life. She takes part in helping Hao during boxing practice, and she is always there to cheer for him. One night, Hao returns home to tell Lane that he got a spot in the next boxing tournament. Lane feels happy for him. They hug and enjoy the moment together. Soon, it is the day of the tournament. Lane is on her way to the arena. She notices someone giving money to him. Hao explains that his opponent's father offered him 30,000 yuan to lose the match. Lane questions how Hao mentioned that he dreamed to become a champion, but Hao says that money is more important to him. Lane tells him to think it through, but Hao tells her to leave and that he is breaking up with her. On the stage, the opponent thanks Hao for taking the deal, but Hao says that he will not go down easily. The match begins and both the fighters prepare to take action, but Hao gets knocked out in the first punch. The man thinks the bribe was not needed at all. Lane returns to the restaurant. The owner asks her why she was late and tells her to join him. Lane sits with him to drink. But the owner has other ideas and tries to take advantage of her. So, Lane punches him. In the police station, the cousin comes to bail Lane out. Lane feels sorry for troubling her, but the cousin mentions it was not Lane's fault. Seeing that her cousin came to help, Lane decides to go on the reality show. Hearing this, the cousin welcomes her immediately. Soon, we are on the set of the job-seeking reality show. Cousin gives Lane an earbud and tells her to follow her instructions. Lane goes on stage. The host introduces her to the judges, a psychologist and a doctor. They question Lane's life and her cousin gives the answers. Lane repeats the same words and gets the attention of everyone in the set, but suddenly the host takes her to the side. They play the video from the day of her interview. In the video, Lane is insulting her mother and sister. Lane realizes that they have done evil editing. The judges and the people shout at her for being a bad daughter. Lane tries to explain that it is all wrong, but the cousin tells Lane to act like she fainted. Lane agrees and faints on the set. But the cousin immediately orders the cameraman to go forward for a close-up. She takes off her headset and the crew member asks about Lane, but the cousin says that she only brought her on the show to take advantage of her and make the show a hit. Lane listens to all this through the headset. Tears fall from her eyes as the camera takes a close-up on her. It is raining heavily. Lane returns home and decides to jump through the window, but she remains unharmed. Lane goes inside and feels utterly humiliated. She cries, feeling miserable with her life. Right then, a boxing poster flies past her. Lane visits the boxing gym and asks the head coach to let her fight in a match. The coach asks her to leave, but seeing her stand firm, he asks her to become a member at the gym and assigns her a coach. She leaves to finish it, and the coach questions why he asked her to do so. The head coach tells him to guide her well. Lane starts by climbing 1,000 stairs. She learns to punch properly, and even learns how to jump rope. Following this, she follows a regular routine to improve her stamina. The coach guides her well step by step through various movements. Lane struggles hard and applies for the tournament. Months go by and Lane continues to train hard. Finally, after 8 months, Lane completes her transformation. Her physique becomes one of an athlete, and she is qualified to participate in the tournament. The head coach gives her a spot in the next tournament, and asks her to train hard since this will be her debut. Following his advice, Lane increases her training and successfully completes her training. One day, her father comes to visit her at the gym. He is shocked to see his daughter transformed completely. Lane mentions that she is learning boxing, and she will be participating to win the match. Father asks her to come back to help with the store, and Lane agrees. At the store, she helps with the deliveries, but Leiden still has the same attitude. Father tells her that Lane learns boxing. Leiden says that it is only to reduce her weight, but father reveals about Lane wanting to win the match. Leiden finds it funny and amusing. Sometime later, Hao happens to visit the store and Lane catches him. He tries running away from her, but she overtakes him. Hao congratulates her for the transformation. Lane invites him to watch her match. He tells her it is not easy and leaves to work. Lane continues to train hard for her match. On the big day, Lane walks along with her coach to the ring. She watches her reflection of her old self in the mirror. Her past self wishes her good luck, and Lane reaches the ring. Unfortunately, her match is against the previous champion. The head coach tells her to throw in the towel, but Lane decides to fight her. The match begins and Lane finds it hard to defend against the champion. Her family and Hao watch the match. Lane manages to move to the next round, but takes a hard hit to the face. She remembers all the hard things she has been through and stands back up wanting to win. In the final round, Laying manages to deliver a good jab at the champion. All the spectators and even her opponent is shocked by this. But unfortunately, her opponent returns with the finishing blow and knocks her out. Laying gets back up to fight, but the match is decided. They declare the winner, but Laying still has the fighting spirit. The champion comes forward to appreciate Laying for giving a good fight. And Leiden tears up watching her sister try hard and having changed herself. Laying walks back to the locker room, and Leiden is left speechless. Hao leaves outside. At the locker room, the coach apologizes for asking her to withdraw, and appreciates her effort and for showing them a good match. Laying changes and takes a picture to post on her moments. Outside, Hao waits for her and asks her out, but Laying calls for a rain check. She heads out on a run, and we see her post mentioning about winning in her own way. In the post credits, we see her inspiring journey to achieve the transformation and winning the boxing match, finally gracing us with a smile, saying that we should try hard since we live only once.